Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Korra news update video. This time out we have the reveal, the announcement of the Legend of Korra Runes of the Empire Library Edition. So we've been waiting for this, but interestingly it hasn't come as part of a bigger reveal. It's just been put up as a listing on a website. So Penguin Random House has of late been where we've usually been getting these from. I assume though they will have an announcement for the next Avatar and Korra book, the actual new stories, but because this is just sort of a reprint book, I sort of get why it's just gone up as a listing here. So here we have it, Runes of the Empire Library Edition. We have our new cover, which we'll look at a little bit closer in a minute, as well as the release date. So release date, as you can see there, September 22nd, 2020. Now if you look up that date, that's going to be a Tuesday. That means that is not going to be the original release date of this book, because these books are always released in comic book stores first. So you go back 13 days to September 9th, 2020. That's going to be the comic book store release date. That's always the way it works. The book is always going to come out on a Wednesday first, and then later on the Tuesday for the mass market date, and that's the case here. So September 9th for comic book stores, September 22nd for mass market. That means if you order from Amazon, it'll be for the 22nd, not the 9th. So that's just the way it works. But yeah, we have our cover here. I think it's a really nice cover. It does exactly, I suppose, what you want. It has Kuvira on the front, the sort of tattered banners of what remains of the Empire. Just the idea of placing Kuvira with the rest of Team Avatar. It's something different, oh, Kuvira is going to be involved in this story, but not as the villain. It says a lot without spoiling anything, I suppose, really, about the series. And it's an intriguing cover. So in that sense, I think it works pretty nicely. It's just the fact they're all standing on top of some of the wreckages of some Empire machinery. You can say stuff like, oh, Mako, Asami, and Bolin haven't really been up to much in this trilogy, and maybe just Kuvira and Korra on the front would have been better, or maybe include Su Yin in this because she's been more of a kind of interesting character in this story. Maybe even Wu would have been maybe better than some of the members of Team Avatar here. But other than that, I think it accomplishes exactly what it needs to. So I'm pretty happy with this. So very nice to see this, the cover finally revealed here for it. So that's pretty cool. As for the description, the main thing is the second big paragraph here. Enjoy the continuing Avatar adventures now with a new sketchbook section and artist commentary. And then it's just the usual stuff. It's an interesting description because it's not... if you look at the Turf Wars Library Edition, what they're saying there doesn't seem different than the Turf Wars one. Now maybe it's just because on the Turf Wars description, they didn't actually mention anything about it. So if you go to the Turf Wars Library Edition page, you can see here it is just a, description of the basic stuff. It collects the 3 parts, the story. It doesn't say anything about the extras. Of course, I reviewed the book on my channel. You could see them up there in full if you want. But very quickly, what the difference was between the Korra Library Editions and the Avatar ones was that the book is smaller, so it's not as wide as the Avatar books because it doesn't have this extra space for the annotations. So that seems to be the case here. This book is also going to be the same size, as you can see down here in the corner, 8 by 12. That means it's the same size in terms of dimensions as the Turf Wars Library Edition. So no annotations, it looks like, again. And then what the Turf Wars book did was that the first 2 pages were text pages from... The first one was a foreword by Mike, and then the second page was an introduction by Irene Coe. So they gave a page of writing to the artist and a page of writing to the writer. So that obviously makes sense, and I assume they'll probably do that again. I'd like to see Michelle Wong get a kind of page of text as well. That'd be nice to see. But they're now sort of saying the thing at the back of the Turf Wars book is now called this whole sketchbook section. But it was called that in Turf Wars anyway. because like, what it says here on the page where it switches from the end of Turf Wars into the extras is Legend of Korra Process Sketchbook. Illustrations by Irene Coe with commentary by Rachel Roberts, who's the editor on the Avatar and Korra books, color process images, and commentary by Vivian Ng. So, that's exactly what it is. And then you get basically what is very similar to the sort of the extra stuff they did in all the Avatar books, except it actually has those sort of annotation images, annotation commentary throughout here, except obviously it was primarily done by Rachel Roberts and Vivian Ng and not Irene Coe. So maybe Michelle Wong will do some of that this time herself. That would be pretty interesting, I think. So I think that's just what it's going to be. They're because there's no annotations, they're just promoting it now that this is the way in the Korra books that they do the extras. You just get a pretty lengthy section at the back that is a full sketchbook, and you're going to get commentary from the artist. And I'm assuming they say artist commentary because it probably will be Michelle Wong and Killian Ng doing the commentary. So that's just getting into the details on how it's going to work. Again, I assume that means Mike, apart from maybe a foreword, probably won't have a lot to say here. And in a book that features Kuvira having an arc, I would actually really like to know if Mike has anything specific to say about Kuvira from just a commentary point of view as like a series creator who also wrote this specific comic. That would be interesting to see. But yeah, that's the details here. So September 9th is when this book is first going to be out. Now, that potentially tells us some, I feel, interesting things about when maybe we might see some of the other books, because the way the release dates have tended to work out recently, they've always had at least one part of a comic coming out in or around the same time as a library edition. It's I think the way it's worked out is that nearly every time it's been like either a week or 2 weeks apart. There's been a library edition and then like a part 1 or a part 2 of a comic. And I have a feeling that probably will be the way that they do this here. Meaning that when we do get the other books announced, I'm going to guess that we might see something announced to be coming out in or around the same time as this. So in or around September. I'd be relatively shocked if they announced part 1 for September. To me, that seems like a part 2 date. Otherwise, like, we're sort of have to question, like, how far behind are we in terms of progress on the next Avatar book? Because I'm assuming that book probably will be more like a May, June, July book rather than like all the way until September for just the first Avatar comic. So we'll see how this all plays out, but it is the first, obviously, like, new Dark Horse book, like, announced in a while. And obviously we still have no announcement for any, like, new story content past Runes of the Empire Part 3, which of course is out in under 2 weeks at this point. So, we're waiting. Like, we're 1 week away from the 15-year anniversary of Avatar, and that's when I'm guessing most of this news, if there is any big news, is going to go down. They've, I think, definitely been holding back the announcement of the next Korra comic, and Avatar comic, I suppose, primarily. To me, it feels like if they really wanted to, they probably could have announced that at any point over probably the last month or so. But they've held back on it for some reason, and I'm guessing it's because they want to have it coincide with the 15-year anniversary. Just because it's a notable anniversary, they probably want to have something to announce then, and the scheduling on the comics has worked out where, like, oh, we actually do have books to announce at that time. So I hope we don't go past the anniversary and no news happens. I think they have to say something somewhere, but again, we're always waiting to see what happens, because like everyone's getting sort of soundtrack hyped, and that might be something that happens. But comics seem like just that's more of the thing we're directly waiting for. So in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on the reveal of the Runes of the Empire Library Edition. What are your thoughts on the cover? Do you take it that their description here of the extras is just that they're going to do it in this book the same way that they did the Turf Wars one? Or do you take it some different way? Definitely let me know that, as well as, how you think the release dates are going to line up. Does this book's release date tell us anything about when we might see the other books or not? But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.